This is the beat on the street, giving you nothing but the raw, the real, that truth, the essence of all things. Live and direct to you today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're accessing us on the planet Earth today and into the universe and cosmos. Today we have the beautiful interview with none other than the creator, the generator of the Matrix.
Yes, hello, how you doing?
How are you doing today?
All right, and glad to be here.
We thank you and honor you for coming out and sharing your heart, your mind, and soul with us so that we can have a better idea and a better scope into what's going on and what's happening. They say the mother of the Matrix. Now, how did you get that name? How did you acquire it? Where did it come from? Now, we've done some plain research, and is it true that you are the mother of the Matrix?
Yes, it's true. I'm the mother of the Matrix. I got that name. A writer interviewed me, a couple of years ago when my story first broke. Probably like in 2003. This writer that was connected to the GhettoTimes.com website. If everybody remembered, they were one of the first websites to break my story. They got over 1 million hits. And so they had a writer named Camus, and he was writing about me, and he gave me that tagline, the mother of the Matrix, and I've been having it ever since. It's been everywhere. Everybody knows me as the mother of the Matrix now. And yes, I'm the real Oracle. In my movie, The Matrix, the first Matrix I wrote it, the Oracle is based on my real life because I'm a great visionary seer, like Nostradamus, Edgar Cayce, Leonardo da Vinci, Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, those type of people, and Gene Roddenberry, who did Star Trek. They're great visionaries and seers.
So the Oracle in the movie Matrix is based off of you and your persona? That's
right, it's correct.
That's incredible.
I wrote myself into my own work, into my own story.
That's incredible. Now how did it come to be? How did the work Matrix come about? How did everything and what's going on? Did they take your work, or how did you submit your work to them? What is the story on that?
Yeah, I was shopping my work. First, I saw Star Wars back in the late 70s, and I shocked to see that George Lucas was writing about Satan, because Darth Vader is actually the devil falling from the light side to the dark side. Star Wars are the wars in heaven. So the Matrix is the opposite franchise of Lucas's franchise. You know, it's the opposite because I wrote the Second Coming of Christ, but I just did it up in science fiction form, not religious. Like, you know how they have it always religiously done in the movies?
Understand.
I decided to do something totally different, to put the Bible in science fiction form, something that had never ever been done before. To tell the Second Coming of Christ, coming back through the womb, because Matrix in the Bible means womb. So what happened was, I wrote the work while I was at USC Film School. I wrote the movie treatment first, and I was looking for George Lucas because I wanted Lucas to do my work, to do my, work into a movie. And I contacted 20th Century Fox, sent them a movie treatment. They went crazy. Susan Mesbach, a vice president, contacted me and asked me, was there any more written on it? And I said, yeah, I was currently working on a book. She says, well, when you finish the book, send it to us. And I did. After I finished the book in November of 1983, called back, found her over at Paramount because she had moved from Fox to Paramount. She told me to send it to David Madden via Valerie Red, and I did that. They were interested in buying it from me. They kept giving me the runaround from 1981 to 1985, and then they finally had erected it as the Terminator, and I didn't know this because I never went and saw the movie. I found out from the feds in 2001 that Terminator was also my work. I shopped it to the Wachowskis during the summer of 1986 because they had an ad in one of those buyer's books, National Magazine buyer's book, looking for a science fiction to do into a science fiction manuscript to do into a comic book. Well, I always loved comic book, grew up on comic books as a child, so I sent them everything, my graphic illustrations, my special effects, my original draft, my edited manuscript, the synopsis, the movie treatment, the makings of the Third Eye, which also became the makings of the Matrix, the character analysis. I sent them the whole 9 yards. That's why the Matrix was so phenomenal.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Now,
because of the amount of work they got from me.
Now you're saying the Terminator as well, besides the Matrix, that you are the original writer for the Terminator, as well.
Also. Harlan Ellison sued them because they stole some of his pieces of his work from 2 of his short stories, Demon and another one, and they paid him $200,000. They settled out and they gave him credit. Story is mine. The full story is mine. They stole some of his stuff to cover up or to continue to recreate the creation or something,
Right.
So they did steal from him. But the main story, the big story is mine.
Understand. Well, before I get to the points and really the motivating factors of you writing the story, I wanted to go further and talk about the case and talk about what exactly is RICO and what is that being placed against a Hollywood major industry right now?
Yeah, we're going. The judge never ruled on my RICO.
Okay.
So I got some new sets of lawyers now because they had to file corruption charges with the FBI against my former lawyers on the first part of the case. Warner Brothers and defendants had already sent these lawyers, had already paid them to sabotage my case to keep me from going to trial. I was having dinner a couple of weeks ago with one of Tupac's former bodyguards, Henry Faison. He's a retired police. He's a bodyguard for Tupac Shakur. And he was telling me that I was the only person to put RICO on Hollywood. And there's been music RICO cases, corporation RICO cases, personal individual RICO cases, mafia RICO cases. But I was the first person to make history by putting RICO on Hollywood, making Hollywood accountable and in their money systems and how they do business,
right,
and the theft of people's intellectual properties.
That's it. Now, this, of course, is your work, The Third Eye, and what was the motivating factor, or was it just to submit it to them, or was it something that you wanted to produce? How did you come up with the work?
Well, I told you the first thing I wanted was Lucas. After I saw Lucas do Star Wars, I wrote a book, and what they did was just adapted it into 6 scripts, which is not unheard of. When they bought work from John Grisham, you've seen The Pelican Brief, you've seen The Firm.
Right.
John Grisham is the author of that work. And there's people who did the screenplay. There was adapters. They just adapted his book into scripts. They're not the creator or the writer of the work. They're just the adapters. They do that all the time. They'll take a book and adapt it to the screen. And I tell people The Third Eye would have became The Matrix regardless if they bought it or stole it. Does this make any difference? Because no one has creative control. When the studio will steal a buy, they take somebody's work and they're going to make the work into whatever they want it to be. So The Third Eye is The Matrix and the Terminator, and that ain't gonna change.
Understand.
They just didn't use the title Third Eye because that would be obvious stuff.
Very true. Very true. Now, in this work, and we see that Warner Brothers and Wachowski brothers and Joel Silver is involved in this, and we see that those entities really own about 95 or 85% of the media now.
Well, Time Warner is one of the media giants because Warner Brothers is owned by Time Warner. There are 5 media giants in the business, and Time Warner is one of them. Time Warner, GE, which is General Electric, Fox Corporation, because I'm going up against Fox and Time Warner's Warner Brothers. And there's 5 giants: Sony, Disney, General Electric, Fox Broadcasting, Time Warner, and Viacom, which is on Sony. So I'm just going up a 2 against 2 of the giants. So they own about 85% of the media. If I'm pretty a good deal in between the 2 of them, they own about 85% of the media. And they're not going to report on themselves. People need to understand that the reason why my case is blanketed or blacked out
is not hearing from it.
People are not going to hang their own selves. With RICO, these people could go to jail. This is criminal copyright infringement. That's a serious federal offense. My copyrights are good for 75 years, and I have 2 of them. That's why I went to the FBI, because FBI investigate white crime or white criminal offenses.
Right. Well, what actually happened in the FBI investigation? What did they find out?
They brought up evidence to prove that I'm the writer of The Matrix and the Terminator. This evidence have acknowledged me as the writer of both franchises, the biggest 2 franchises in film history, to gross over $2.5 billion in America, probably $5 to $9 billion overseas. And they know it. That's why you see no disclaimers. You don't see nowhere is it written that Sophia Stewart didn't write The Matrix or the Terminator.
That's right.
And I've been saying this for 7 years, since '99. There's been no counter suits, no slander suits. There have been no letters of threats, nothing. When media people ask them, or the public or the fans, they do not deny it. They cannot deny it. That's why you didn't hear Arnold Schwarzenegger use during the election, "I'll be back." He cannot use "I'll be back" anymore. He knows it's stolen, and he knows he has to pay Sophia Stewart.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And that's why you see when they wrote V for Vendetta, they didn't write it, but they adapted it because it was Alan Moore's work. They bought some work from Alan Moore, and if you wrote The Matrix, you would have to buy anybody's work. You're a great seer. You're a genius. You will continue to work, just like Picasso, just like Mozart, just like Beethoven. You will continue to work, like Shakespeare. You know what I'm talking about? You're the originator of the work. But they adapted Alan Moore's work to screen. They didn't say they were the writers of the Matrix. They said they were the creators of the Matrix trilogy, meaning the adapters. That's exactly what they were admitting to their fans and people. They will never use they're the writers of the Matrix again, because that's just like taking a deposition before the world. Once you caught on tape or caught lying, I can use that. That would incriminate them. I can use that because the case and everything is not over. That's his death. And once he's stolen, you have to be careful what you say and what you write.
That's it.
Except for the true originator, or the one who wrote it. And I wrote it, so I can say whatever I please.
Very true. Very true. So, well, let's go off a note here and stay with that. And what would you really say to youth and other people that are looking to create works like that and kind of shop it around to the industry, or are looking to create their own?
Now after this, they got so many lawsuits. They're stolen from so many people, and my case have really empowered people to fight. And you must get those copyrights. It's very important, because the FBI investigates criminal copyright infringements, and they won't do that unless you have those copyrights, those government copyrights. And now the studios is taking another stand. They won't take anybody's work now unless it goes to an agent. So it's very possible that you need to get a very good agent, not a crooked one. You gotta be careful of who you get, because theft can still go on underhandedly through agents.
Gotcha. So make sure you get your copyrights before submitting as a basis.
Exactly, and then they'll use non-disclosures. Send in your work, get people to sign non-disclosures, make them accountable. That way, if something happens, You can do depositions on them, and you can have a paper trail where you can trace who they gave your work to.
Understand. Great
It
point.
creates a paper trail, copyright and a disclosure.
Copyright and disclosures. Excellent.
And a good agent.
And a good agent, huh?
Yes.
Understand that. So don't they know not to mess with a New York girl?
Except from a New York girl that's a paralegal. That definitely helps, because I know the law, I know it very well. I filed my own lawsuit before my 4 attorneys came to me. Had already filed April 24th, 2003. So I have a good grasp of knowledge of law.
That's it.
And that kind of shocked them, because they're usually picking on people that don't know anything about law and doesn't know anything about the entertainment business.
That's it.
And I'm well acknowledged in both.
Now you worked for
business and the legal business.
You worked for one of the production companies, correct?
Yes, I did. I used to work for Columbia Pictures out there in Burbank. I did an internship at Channel 13 in New York City. I worked with the producer Perry Miller Dado.
Okay.
So I also interviewed for national magazine publications from New York City. The publisher, of course, was Dick Barnett. The Dick Barnett, who's a former New York Knicks player. Yeah, I did work for that magazine. So I've been in the media for a long time. I got a degree in journalism.
All right.
I went to USC Film School, the same film school as Lucas and Spielberg. So it was my destiny to become a multi-millionaire, even a billionaire.
Very true. Watch out, Oprah. Watch out, Oprah.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Well, in your life, for the youth, was there a epiphany, a motivating factor in your life that kind of pushed you or moved you to do positive things like this work, or just what moved you to create such a work, but within your youth and seeing that?
Well, it's true. My whole belief was my belief in God, because I wanted to do metaphysical movies. That was what my goal was, to educate people and to make them aware of God. My great spiritual relationship with God is phenomenal, and my work is speaking about God. And I wanted to create superheroes, black superheroes for the children. I was so sick and tired of the black exploitation movies where they always have black people as pimps and whores and just negative characters.
Understand.
And I just couldn't stomach that anymore. So I decided to do something about it. If you look at the first Matrix, you'll see that it's totally black. It's the first black science fiction ever written or put up on the screen with black superheroes. Now kids can be the Oracle, they can be Morpheus, they can be Neo. That's right, or Dozer, or Tank, or APOC. You know what I'm saying?
Very true.
These are positive black images, and I've gotten tons of fans from all over the world telling me, including white fans, I'm Neo, I'm Morpheus, because the characters are multi-dimensional. They're just not just black, but they're international because of the substance of what I created in the characters. It's having morals and principles.
That's it.
And I was written about in newspapers, talking about that I was going to come out with the first black science fiction with black superheroes. And my Neo character was based upon Muhammad Ali, my really good friend Ali, who was helping me at that time while I was writing that book at USC Film School. He was introducing me to different directors and producers and people, praising my work, got my work filmed, framed, in his house. And that's why they wanted his physical attributes is the character of Neo, and that's why they wanted Will Smith to play Neo.
Wow.
Turned it down for Wild Wild West because, as you know, Will Smith played Ali in the movie Ali, because he fits the physical characteristics of Ali.
I got that.
And that persona was written in my book. So that's why they wanted Will Smith.
Understand. Wow.
It'll make sense to a lot of people if they,
But that makes perfect sense right there. That makes perfect sense. Man. So Muhammad Ali would basically be that Neo figure.
Exactly, because he was a real live black superhero.
That's it.
I mean, that was internationally known. I mean, people from every country, every world, you know, they love Muhammad Ali.
That's it.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's it.
So I created a phenomenal character that everybody around the whole entire world can love. That persona Ali gives, that energy.
That's it. That's it.
So he's a great example of a superhero. Am I right or wrong?
Very true. Very true. That would be a perfect pick. A perfect pick. Now, talking with Muhammad Ali and talking with people of like caliber, did they do justice to the third eye?
In my opinion, yes, they did. Let me tell you why. It got the message out because it was created to wake people up. I wrote The Evolutions of Consciousness, how people will evolve, how they will eventually wake up, evolve, and make decisions about their spirituality, awaken to the fact of God. And fans from all over the world, they email me, call me, write me, and they tell me that the Matrix movie have awakened them. One fan, he's white, his name is Wayne Young. He wrote a phenomenal letter to me, and a phenomenal letter, another second phenomenal letter that he sent to me, that he told me that he watched the Matrix and it woke him up. He just literally awakened, and he always said he knew what was going on with the world and what was going on with everything. And a lot of fans have told me this from every part of the world. I mean, I got every color, every nationality, every creed of fans, and they just want to know the real person who wrote this because they got spiritual questions that they need answered. They need to see more of this work. They need to understand more of the deeper meanings of the movie. And only the real writer can provide this substance for the fan. That's why the Wachowskis and Warner Brothers and Fox and them need to stop lying. Because they're doing a lot of harm to people.
Very true.
Truth needs to come out, and I need to continue to work.
If people are really looking for that true essence of that understanding of the metaphysical form, and they're looking for it from the true person who wrote it and the creator, then that would do justice. But if it's not, then it is a fallacy. It's a huge fallacy, and you're really messing with people's minds. That's crazy.
Yeah, because they're putting the people in the Matrix, and it's going to be grave repercussions behind that. Because you can't knock down the truth. You can lies and illusions may stray upon the world, but only the truth will go inside and resonate and vibrate around the world. And the truth is, everything has to bow down to the truth. Truth will come out. It may be 2 days, 3 months, 6 years, 8 years, 20, who knows? But the truth is going to come out eventually.
That's it.
And everything has to bow down to that. And that lie is going to destroy them. That's why you don't see the Wachowskis anywhere. They will never be on television. They will never be anywhere saying they wrote The Matrix. I assure you, that's their position, and that's a lie that once it's written, it will come back to really wreck them up, really wreak havoc on them immediately. So that's the good part. They can never tell the lie. That's why they've signed contracts with Warner Brothers to never do any publicity, to never go on any talk shows saying they wrote The Matrix. And that's why no one has ever seen them on any mainstream talk shows saying they wrote The Matrix. They had the actors to come out and speak for them, give the lie for them. They had other people to lie for them, and they knew the feds were investigating them at that time.
That's amazing.
They just wasn't going to put any lie on paper or on tape.
That's crazy.
That's why you guys have never, and you never will, see them on any mainstream talk shows talking about they wrote The Matrix.
No, not at all.
Never.
Not at all. That's man. Well, that's why your fight is so important,
Well, my fight is so important, and it's very phenomenal that the truth comes out, because the truth will heal and help people. The lies, all it does is going to make all the Matrix fans around the world angry. Those Matrix fans that are supporting the lie is going to be their greatest enemies when the truth comes out. They're going to try to destroy the Wachowskis, Warner Brothers stock, and Fox for lying. They should not lie. They should make peace and put the truth down and admit they made a mistake. And go on and give the people what they want. You saw how much money the movies made. The Matrix 1 made $1 billion by itself. $465 million in receipts. Another $407 million overseas. And the other two Matrix made phenomenal money. So this tells you that these people love the movie, but the Matrix 1 is the only movie that the fans have seen, some of them 20 times, 10 times, 5 times.
Right. Box
incredible numbers of times.
Box
and it's still making money, and they know this. They know that each offending act, I can just go in and this will never be over. People got the illusion that my case is over. Well, they can forget that. This will never be over. Every time they release something, a game, a movie, or merchandise, every time they release anything, I got 3 years to take them to court on. 3 years to come after them. So this will never be over.
Wow.
Another thing, I'm going back into the court system for part 2 to continue my fight, because when I win, everybody wins. And it's not over until the lie is revealed. Let people know truth has to always win out over lies, and it will.
Right.
I'm the type of person that will take the truth to the ends of the earth, because God is with me. And this is about God. So give what unto God what is God, and give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Because you cannot steal what belongs to God. And that's knowledge. The knowledge that God has stored inside, He has put it inside of me. They can't steal what God has given, what's inside of me. The gift is inside of me. I am the Matrix. And God says in Exodus 34, verse 34th chapter, 19th verse, He who opens up the Matrix is mine. And I open up the Matrix.
Wow.
And they can't shut it down.
Wow.
Am I right or wrong?
Very true. The whole just goes deeper and deeper. We're here with the Oracle, and she's speaking about her case in one of the biggest cases against the Hollywood industry. And we understand that the Hollywood industry holds a lot of power in how people are viewed and how people are portrayed in the international community, not only this national community. And so we understand that this is a big case in not only producing a production with positive black figures and positive universal figures, but also is a event in which it is breaking down a organization that greedily stole and has been presenting views that are can I say depleted or limited for the whole international community. And that's why this is so big. Can you comment anything on that and the magnitude of this case?
Yeah, this case has changed the way Hollywood does business and the way people view movies, films. And I'm not going to give up on the first case like I told people before. It's because they owe me from 1984 up until now. And a lot of people are just mad about the fact that they owe me so much money. But you can get mad all you want, some of the Wachowski fans, because I'm only fighting for what's owed me, compensations that's owed me, and my name recognition. And anybody would fight for that. If they've been wronged or stolen from, and somebody owe you some money, and they've used your name incorrectly or not used your name to give you credit, you're going to fight for that. And this is going to revolutionize the industry by breaking these codes in back of these corporations that steal, because they have stifled creativity. And creativity was supposed to be free-flowing by different artists, and their work is not supposed to be stolen because you can't steal their gifts. Their gifts were supposed to continue so they could bring in quality movies. Without quality movies, you actually atrophied or you destroyed the whole industry, because now with all the technology, people are able to download into their homes, and they're going to be watching movies over the internet, and TV is going to get the internet, and that's going to destroy Hollywood, period, because they continue to steal from the artists instead of encouraging free creativity and buying it. So the movie theaters would be filled up, and they would be caught up in what they're caught up in now, meaning that they have all destroyed themselves with progress because they didn't let progress continue. They decided to short-circuit progress, and steal and greed has caused them to end their own industry. Because with the downloading of the satellites coming into play soon, and the downloading on the internet, and the iPods and all the cell phones and everything, people are actually going to be able to carry a device in their hands, and it's going to be everything. It's going to be all in one. It's going to be the cell phone, the TV, the laptop, the computer. It's going to be everything, from music to school. And this way, you don't got to go to any buildings or anywhere. You can just pay for the service and view it right then and there wherever you are.
Right.
And I'm showing this in solace. And this is the future. And Hollywood has managed to cut off their own hands in the industry by stealing and being greedy.
So, now, let me back up. You were talking about Wesley Snipes and talking with Wesley Snipes, and he said he had to. Well, what was he saying?
What about Wesley Snipes? I met him last year. He took me out to dinner because he said he has to meet the woman who changed the world.
Who changed the world?
I asked him, why did you invite me to dinner? Why did you want to meet me? He said, I have to meet the woman who changed the world.
Truly. And you are the woman that changed the world. Changed the world. That's incredible. One of the biggest cases against the Hollywood industry, folks. Well, what do you see for the future, for yourself, for the Third Eye, for the Matrix, as well as the
Third Eye book is getting ready to be released. We're hoping for a release date this month. I'm praying to God that we get that release date. I'll go on Oprah's show. I've had 4 visions of myself on Oprah. Oprah wants to read the book. I'll be on Larry King Live, 60 Minutes, and just numerous talk shows, because the book is published for all the fans and people who want to know the truth, who really wrote The Matrix and The Terminator. This book is for you. It was published especially for you. I will go on in the future to work with some of the greatest filmmakers, because I have like 2 huge blockbusters, franchises, $100 million franchises. One is called Soulless, SOUL-LESS, and the other one is called When the Gods Walk the Earth, which is a prequel. But Soulless is the next series from The Matrix. It tells you how the human androids are born, how they're cloned with human brains and chipped implants, chipped liver, lungs, kidneys, hearts, and so forth. So they can take a licking, but it will keep right on ticking. They can travel into space, but they won't atrophy. They'll be able to come back. And they're the real human androids, the real machines, because in the future, there is no metal. H.G. Wells' old Iron Age concept is in iRobot, just telling you that whoever wrote iRobot didn't understand the whole concept of the future, because we're born in the digital age,
right,
which is the chips. So it only makes sense in the future that Neo would fight with human androids. And it goes back to the old principles of Frankenstein's creation back into 1861. Right. And I entwine both of these concepts to show people exactly what a clone body consists of, how the electrodes of the brain can control the microchips in the bodies.
Wow.
It's phenomenal. When NASA scientists and doctors viewed my work, they said, you wrote a reality. What you wrote is true. It's real. This can happen in the future. The doctor was talking about the Z chip, which is the Z gene that they're working on right now. Was totally amazed by my concepts.
That's amazing.
But I've seen 113 years into the future, so I know all the inventions that are coming. I know all the new IBM corporations that are going to be the new IBMs of the future. All the stocks, and how the satellites are going to rule the entire world. And I'm going to show it in my movies.
I believe.
I'm hoping to be working with Lucas, hoping to get Lucas to manufacture, to distribute it and finance the movies to Lucasfilms. Okay. That's powerful. I mean, I believe that's why everybody gravitates to your work, because it is reality, and you are the example really of that reality, while you are fighting this this massive industry, as well as disseminating the work about fighting wrong and moral negative nature, and ascending that toward your higher self, and relating to that consciousness of your higher self. And that's what is so amazing, because you are the exact example of that fight. And that's true, very true.
Now, as far as, I mean, I know people are very interested in speaking with the Oracle about things that they have seen, or things that you have seen as far as the future. What do you see as far as the future in terms of our own American society, and as far as the international community?
Well, I saw a great thing is getting ready to happen upon the earth, and Katrina is just the rumblings of it. Of the giant tsunamis, the earthquakes, all the different things of nature that's really rebelling against man, because man has knocked off the balance of God. See, God is about balance. And when the balance is knocked off, when you atrophy or you make something extinct, you're actually removing balance from the whole equation of God. And a shift is getting ready to come again. Like there was the last great shift that caused the ice age and caused the dinosaurs to be taken from the earth. Well, anything that devours the great earth, which is the mother, the earth is the mother, it's the female energy of God. And she cries out because she's alive. She's living. Everything of God is living entities, like the trees, the sun, the water, the wind, the air. You know, all of these elements and so forth of nature and stuff, they're living creatures. They're created in the living image of the living God of the Most High. And when you devour the earth and you don't put back, like the Native American Indians were trying to tell the people, you have to put back. Whatever you take, you have to give back, because the mother, she's alive and she has feelings.
Right.
And then when you just take out of greed and you don't put back, you knock off the balance.
Right.
You know, and so what happens is a shift comes upon the earth. And we've got another shift coming. And it's going to happen anywhere between now, that's right, now and 100, up until 116 years from now. Or the year 2116, I mean, it was 113 years, excuse me. Anywhere from 2116 AD, going to occur. I don't know when exactly, I just know
it will be a major
between 113 years from now that timeline, shift is going to occur. It's just going to happen. There's no warnings, no nothing. It's like a thief in the night. It's going to come, and it's going to take and remove all the people of greed from the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth, just like Scripture was talking about. Scripture is real. The meek will inherit the earth. The greed will be taken out. Whatever concept that they were talking about, the rapture, about the bad guys are going to be taken and the good guys, the good guys are going to be taken and the bad guys are going to be left on the earth is wrong. It's the opposite. The meek shall inherit the earth, and the good guys are the ones that are going to be gone. Everybody that devours the earth and knocks off balance and they're greedy are going to be evaporated, dropped by fire like they never existed. No bones, no nothing. They're monuments, they're buildings, they're artifacts. They're going to be standing just like the great pyramids of art of today. And all the great phenomenal buildings and things and artifacts of that old civilization, but nobody knows what they look like. Nobody found bones and don't know what happened to them. The only bones and artifacts that were preserved was from the Ice Age.
Got that.
That's right, it was frozen in the water. But this time, I tell you, it's going to be the same, because if man does not learn from history, he repeats the same doom. He gets the same thing that he doesn't learn from. Yeah, exactly. Same destruction comes upon him.
Makes sense. I mean, naturally, when your body gets sick, I mean, automatically it heats up, or it produces a liquid a phlegm type material. It goes into a state of healing, but in that healing you increase heat, which on the Earth's body would probably do the same thing. So heat and waters would increase, and as well as other things. So as if the body of your own self does that automatically when it's attacked and it feels sick and it feels off balance or it feels at dis-ease, then automatically I would think that the Earth would do the same thing.
Yes, the Earth is like a living entity, and that's why there's upheavals and all that stuff. Because the ice caps and everything are melting. Water, where it used to be, will go back. The water, it used to be an ocean there in the Grand Canyon. That water is going back. The ocean that used to be there in Cali is just going to leave. It's drying up. What is shifting over, it's going to be in Las Vegas, it's going to be oceanfront property. The Grand Canyon, Arizona, filled up ocean. Some parts of Utah back to water again. Because wherever water was before, it will go back again. This great shift that's coming upon the Earth is going to shift things back to the way it was.
Interesting. Now, is this all in...
And Vegas is going to be look just like the way Cali looks. Just the way Cali look.
Wow.
California. Go ahead.
Now, is this all in your work, in your new things, the soul list that you're doing? And
yes, I'm speaking right now. I'm telling you about what's in the book that I've written and in the movies. Yes, I'm speaking on it. So when people see the movie and read the book, they're actually going to hear all the stuff that I'm speaking about.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow. Well, as far as the release date for the Third Eye, that will be this month?
Yeah, we're hoping for this month. I'm not, until I get a release date, it will be on my website. My website is www.sophiaoracle.com. That's one word, SOPHIAORACLE.com.
Okay.
My book has been selling for a year and a half. Everybody who bought the book has made history. I cannot express it. If you want to, the first 10,000 copies is memorabilia, hardcover, autographed, and that's going to be phenomenal to own this book. I suggest people to go out and buy the book now so they won't be on a long waiting list, because when I hit Oprah, those first 10,000 copies of the memorabilia is going to go fast. Those are going to be very valuable copies because the book has made history. It's in the court system. It is the foundation of two of the largest or the biggest film franchises in world history. So you're going to own a piece of
Gotta
history.
get a copy.
Phenomenal.
Gotta get a copy. That is history. That is record breaking. If you don't know, you really better ask somebody, because this, if not now, in a few years, everybody will be looking at this and saying what a astounding event that this, how it occurred, what occurred from it, and the different aspects of it, just because of the story that was written all in the same time. the living example, the living oracle, right here, telling about the future of the world and her case. We thank you. We thank you for your time. Now,
Welcome.
I really wanted to get a little bit more time and talk about some of your upcoming events, and really some of your past events as well. I know that you're going to be at the NBA All-Star event in Las Vegas.
Yes, it's February.
Oh, in February? Okay.
That's right. And then I got an event coming up March the 21st. That's not a tentative date, but it's the date that they told me about. Well, I'm going to be one of the jazz presenters at the Jazz Awards. It's going to be filmed by BET and another network at the Shrine in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I also won a award, the Rosa Parks Awards from the NAACP. I want people to know I won September the 2nd a honorary empowerment award from the Las Vegas Music Awards. The NAACP is going to give me a book signing party as soon as we get the release date, and all this information will be coming out on my website.
Okay.
I got a reality show called Gold Digger that's going to be coming out. The clip is already shown on YouTube, and we're going to be doing a major audition for the Gold Digger in Los Angeles for the pilot, filming the pilot.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Well, I wanted to also talk about you, this event when you met Morpheus, and they had the big meeting where the mother of the Matrix actually met Morpheus, so the Morpheus actually met the mother of the Matrix.
Oh yeah, that was phenomenal. That was in June, this past June, during the summer. Then in Vegas did a red carpet of me and Lawrence Fishburne. They were honoring him, and he got a chance to meet me and take pictures with me. A lot of people can view that on my website, SophiaOracle.com. And it was beautiful meeting him. He was just totally fabulous.
Excellent. Excellent.
He had announced last year when he did WBLS with Ellen and Paul Mooney that he had expressed that he wanted to meet me. I mean, thousands and thousands of fans heard it, and they called me up and it was like, yeah, Lawrence Fishburne wants to meet you. And I think that our meeting was very phenomenal. He plays a great Morpheus.
The great Morpheus.
I was very impressed and very glad that he was chosen for that role.
Yeah, I understand.
Because
Yeah.
I've been following his work for a number of years.
Well, as the first universal black superhero, that speaks volume. I mean, this case of there's record-breaking events upon record-breaking events within this own event, and that's what's so amazing about this. I mean, the deeper you go and the deeper you think about it, the more you can pull out from it, and that's what's so amazing. So I acknowledge you and I honor you. Our listeners, they acknowledge and they honor you, and please just keep on doing what you're doing.
Right. Well, do you want me to answer any of their questions? Do they have any questions that you want me to answer?
Yes. I have about 3 questions, mainly from the youth. I have a question here. What is it in your youth? What is it in your youth that wanted you to make you a writer?
Well, I didn't know that I was going to be a writer. I didn't even know I had the gift until I was in the 7th grade, because that's when I first started writing. My teacher, Mrs. Day, got sick, and she was out for an undetermined time, and they brought in a substitute teacher. He was a male, coming from a local school, local college, and he didn't know English. All he knew was writing, because that's what he was teaching. So he told us he was just going to teach us to write. And I was just so blown away that I took to it like a duck takes to water. I just started writing and trying to please him and trying to be better than all the other students. And he was like really blown away by my writing. I had no idea I had a phenomenal gift until I went into college. I took the New York Regents and went from junior high into college. And I had some of the most famous, phenomenal teachers like Max Siegel, a former journalist with the New York Times, Emil Capunia, renowned writer, essay, critic, Leon Roth, who's son is Eric Roth that wrote Forrest Gump.
Okay.
At USC Film School, and Big Apple playwright Paul Cherry. They were just totally blown away by my writings. Max Siegel told me, wow, it's something he could teach me, that I was already an incredible writer.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I guess we see that a lot of our youth out there, they have the ability to write, and they love to write, and they now see you, and they can acquire what you have acquired now in their mind and in their reality. So that's a big acknowledgement, a big honor for you as well.
Yeah, I want them to continue to write because, like I said before, I wrote The Matrix, so all black kids and all kids around the world can strive to become greater writers than myself.
Okay. I have another question here.
Yes.
Hi, Sophia. This is Chris Lockhart. I've been here listening to the interview, and I've been amazed. But I had a question of myself. What was your inspiration that sparked the beginning of the idea of the Matrix?
What inspired me was Star Wars. I mean, God has always inspired me, and no one has ever written about him coming back. I read the Bible, I heard different people, I even went to different churches, and I heard different people saying that he was going to come back. But no one had ever elaborated on that. So I wrote a story, if he came back to Earth, then he would have to come back all over again through the womb, and then he would be in jeopardy, and someone would try to harm him to keep him from fulfilling his destiny. And what would he be up against? He'd be up against technology, because I knew in the future that technology would reign, and then it would try to wipe the concept of good or God from the earth. So that's what inspired me. Looking at Star Wars, I said, wow, if Lucas is writing about Darth Vader, the devil, someone must write about God. And my love for God is what inspired me to create that story.
That's powerful. That's powerful. The actually living example of truth and the fight for truth, the Oracle, here with us. I have another question. What do you plan to do when you win? What do you plan to do when you win? I guess
I'm going to
when you win
have a
your
great
case.
party, and this has been prophesized for a number of years in Vegas. My party was supposed to be at the Bellagio. I guess I will still have to keep it at the Bellagio or the Wynn or one of the major casinos. But I'm sure a lot of casinos, it was been prophesized, is going to sponsor me because I'm going to bring in tons of people, and we're going to have a great celebration. Also, with the money that I'm going to receive, and I'm going to receive that money, I intend to tithe with God and give 10% to the poor. That's my number one priority, because once you do that, you've always blessed my God. And a lot of, because when you start receiving great amounts of money, the bigger the devils. And you want to have the protection of God. And tithing with God brings great blessings and great approval from God to help the poor. So every amount of money I get, I'm going to always tithe with God.
Got that. That's all a part of that balance. The part about the balance that you're talking about, right? That
Right. And I've always
balance.
been practicing with God, even now with tithing. I do it all the time because it's very important. And when you don't realize, but a lot of people need to know that when you tithe with God, you're always blessed. You always have money. You will never be broke by tithing with God. It's better to give than to receive, because every man who gives to himself, and every man that takes or steals from another, he actually steals from himself.
That's it. We're all one. What, let's see here. What would someone do if they had a work and wanted to make a movie?
If someone wants to create a movie,
Yes.
I would suggest them going to film schools because they need to learn about the industry. Because the industry is structured with many intricate things. You know, the Writers Guild, SAG, you know, just different aspects that they need to learn in order to create. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? In order for someone to create, there's different aspects of the industry that they need to know. So my suggestion is that they go to film school, or they take electives in college, or they do internships, or they study film in school if they have the programs. Because you need to learn every aspect of something in order to be really good at it, in order to give somebody a great piece of work as a movie or a film or a documentary.
So master your craft. Master your craft.
Yeah, master your craft, because you want to be the best at whatever you do. And you want to give people the best of your abilities in your work.
Well, you have definitely left a mark on the world and the cosmos. Your production, your creation, your engineering of the third eye which produced The Matrix is leveling the media industry, the ones that hold the visions of our very next generation, whether it be for the light or for the dark. And you are a great force for the light, and we thank you for your time and insight into these matters.
You're welcome. Glad to be here. Glad to talk to you guys.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.